This is part 2. Okay, so here in part 2, I am telling you, for those of you who have just joined, we're talking about disturbing sounds that bother, kids or developmentally disabled adults that function at the level of kids that are watching TV shows, or I'm going to add this, toy companies, which I have an InnoTab and a V-Reader, where I would have this problem if I bought one of the cartridges for the InnoTab, and I already have this problem with the V-Reader. But anyway, back to what I was saying, for those of you, I'm going to be playing a clip at the end of the video. And it's from an episode of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, which is on Disney Junior. And the sound you're going to hear in this clip, I know these are spoilers, but I'm going to give you these spoilers just so you know when to really pay attention to what you're hearing. Okay, so basically the lowdown is he has to... Santa Claus's sleigh is broken. Okay, so he has to follow Mrs. Claus to save Santa, for those of you who haven't seen it. Well, they get into sort of a little problem halfway. They run out of gas in their vehicle. In this case, it's an airplane. And which is kind of stupid because they don't fill up the gas tank like they're supposed to. I think that's really funny. There's also a similar problem with an episode featuring their car, too. But, this is the one, since it's getting close to Christmas, that I am going to be featuring. Anyway, it makes an odd noise before he says, we're out of gas, and things like that. And then there's an odd noise when they land the plane, because they do this little countdown, and then you hear this. I'm not going to imitate any of the sounds because they're kind of hard to do. It's like I don't know if I even want to do it, because you guys are just going to laugh at me. You're going to want to just listen to the recording. Then I'm going to... The quality, the quality, I didn't tell you, this might sound kind of weird because this is a tiny, tiny speaker on an Olympus digital voice recorder, and it's not made for stuff like this. Okay, so it might sound like... but it's not. It's the digital voice recorder. It's not the way it's supposed to be. It's because it's a tiny speaker on the digital voice recorder that's causing it to sound like that. Okay, so anyway, as I was saying, there's some sounds in certain things that really bother people, like people on the autism spectrum, or, that have ADHD, or who are blind and autistic, or blind and ADHD. Well, anyway, there's a sound, and I'm going to have to do this because I do not have my V-Reader on me, in a Scooby-Doo game that really, oh my god, I cannot, and you cannot avoid this either because this is part of their book. This is part of the... Oh my god. This is part of the storybook, sorry. And it makes sort of... Yeah. If you're wondering, he's crying because he thought that he's been turned to stone or turned into a statue. If that's the noise I tried to make as an example sounded really bad, it was. I'm sorry, I cannot do that very well. It sounds like laughing, but it's really not. And if you guys want to pick up the V-Reader game, or if you see a video of it on YouTube, if I can find a video where they're featuring the Scooby-Doo game on YouTube, I can try and share it. But, basically, it's just not a good sound for someone like me or somebody else who is blind and autistic. And I think toy companies and cartoon stations like Disney Junior or Disney Channel or Nick Jr. or whatever, Nick Jr. is actually doing a really good job of making sure that they make the episodes so everybody can watch, not just their normal population. Disney Junior, like I said, it's adding these awful sounds in there that are bothering, that probably bother some kids. Some kids are adults with developmental disabilities, or who are blind and have a developmental disability, such as autism, which is what this log is about. But there are certain sounds that bother them, and I think that and Cartoon Network is doing an okay job too. I'm not saying they're perfect, but they're doing an okay. Disney or Nick Jr. is not perfect either, but they're doing a pretty good job. The only sort of iffy patch I've run into is Bubble Guppies on Nick Jr., even though I love Bubble Guppies. It's one of my favorite Nick Jr. shows. But still, in PBS, Kids is the other, Sprout is the other one, because of a Berenstein Bears episode, and I do not want to go into that right now. I don't have time to go into that, but anyway, they need to really be careful of how they execute, sounds and stuff for their disabled viewers. Hold on. I'm going to put part 3. I'm going to switch over to part 3 here. What the...